Update time. The installation process is identical to the first version. Here's what's new. First, the big one, the fit to curve modifier. This will conform an existing mesh to any curve object with ample room to make extra adjustments. Here's how to use it. Add a cube or any other straight mesh, size it how you want, add trims, and unwrap the UVs. I've already covered all this. Align the origin point on the axis you want the curve to deform along. Usually that's right down the center of the mesh, like this. Next, we need a curve. Shift A, curve, and add either a Bezier or NURBS curve, whatever you prefer to work with. I'll pick Bezier. In edit mode, at the top right corner, click this overlays drop down. At the bottom, tick on normals, and now we can see the direction and orientation of our curve. In edit mode, select control points and move them where you want them to be. Select the handles and move them to change how the curve interpolates. Select a point and press V if you want to change how the curve handles work. Usually you'll just use automatic or aligned. Select a control point and press E to create a new segment. Select two separated control points and press F to join them together. Right-click and find Subdivide to add new control points to that segment. Select a control point, press Ctrl T to put a tilt in the curve, moving your mouse or typing a value to decide the angle. You can find a control point's current tilt angle in the context menu. Toggle that by pressing N. Once your curve is in place, select the mesh, go to the Modifiers tab, add Modifier, Geometry Nodes, MIU Fit to Curve, and under Curve Object, select the curve you just made. If the mesh is deforming from side to side, like mine is, or God forbid top to bottom, adjust the deform axis to the direction you want it to go. 0 is X, 1 is Y, 2 is Z. On each end of the curve, you'll find a value displaying the curve's length. This modifier fits the mesh from one end to the other, no matter what size it is, so I'll have to resize it manually. In object mode, with the context menu, press N. You can see the dimensions of your mesh as it is right now. I'm working by tiles, so I'll resize as close to the curve's length as I can in increments of 4. In edit mode, in the top right corner, options, tick correct face attributes if you need to preserve a mesh's existing UVs. Turning the modifier back on, the mesh is still ignoring the curve and going from one end right to the other, because I haven't added any more polygons for the curve to bend. Back to edit mode, Ctrl R, and use your scroll wheel to increase the amount of cuts you make. I recommend 3 or 4 cuts per tile. I'll do the same lengthwise too, 2 or 3 cuts per tile here. You can even vary the amount depending on how sharp the corresponding turns on the curve are. Now it should look about right. By default, Blender will automatically tilt the curve to minimize distortion. If you tick Keep Upright here, it'll keep everything flat instead, letting you add tilts to the curve manually. Note that this will cause artifacts if your curve turns farther than 90 degrees vertically, so if you're doing anything like Gordian, you'll have to turn this off. Invert switches the direction of the curve. Cyclic if you want the curve to be a closed loop. Hide length if you want that. Trim Start and End let you decide where along the curve your mesh is placed, and Length Override lets you manually redefine the curve's length value. This is useful if you have multiple mesh segments in your path, and don't need them all to stretch along the whole curve. Setting this to match the total length of your path will make it easy to align separate meshes seamlessly. Once the curve is right, apply the modifier, join it with any connecting pieces, and merge all the connecting pieces together for a seamless mesh. If you don't do this, your mesh will cause bananas. I recommend keeping duplicates of the original meshes with their modifiers still intact in case you want to make changes later. Moving on, the Simple Slope modifier now has a linear falloff type, and the endpoints should no longer get misaligned. Every material in the library has been updated with easy-to-read thumbnails, making it easier to find the material you're looking for. Oh, and both the modifiers have been added to the library too. I changed the suggested price on the kit's Gumroad page from $15 to 0. It's free, it was always free, the Gumroad's just for donations, but a couple people were thrown off by the price prompt. Now everybody will know it's free. Since the first release, I've learned that Marble It Up skies can be distributed freely with no legal problems. Therefore, the cheap imitation sky reflected on all materials has been replaced with the real deal. Also, since I now know I can do that, I've included a pack of in-game sky materials in Unity, to easily swap and preview them before exporting. They are desaturated so they'll work well in light mapping, with environment lighting set to Skybox, resulting in lighting like you'll see in Tiny Falls or Ocarito. I also added some unlisted MTA materials, and unlisted particle materials, and accurate visualizations of every single unlisted asset I deemed useful, and prefabs emulating how they all function in official levels, and surprise nerd, this is the release of the extended Marble Kit. Installation is the same as the official kit, just go Assets, Import Package, Custom Package, and find Extended Marble Kit, and it'll unpack right into your existing MIU assets. If you've made any previous changes to the level exporter, you may need to re-implement them. If you want to edit a prefab for one-time use, and trust me, you'll want to, right-click it in the hierarchy, click Unpack Prefab. Anytime you want to save your own version, name it something else, navigate to where you want, click and drag the group into the asset browser. The link to download all of this is in the description. Just one little thing, when Gumroad asks you what price you'd like to pay, you had better not put a damn 0 in there. I'm kidding, it's free. Ping me if you have any problems with the kit. Have fun.